There are two different ways that I think about going through life, about the mindset that you have day to day, task to task, and even reflecting on your life and your day to day and thinking, what should I be doing? Why am I doing this, etc. The two different ways are manual and automatic. And for students, because they spend so much time in school in a very automatic way of doing things and thinking about things, it's very important for them to focus sometimes, to take a step back and think about doing things a manual way. In other words, putting more thought into why you're doing what you're doing and what exactly you are doing in the first place, right? And I don't mean to demonize this way of being. Both are important, right? It's important to have a structure for how you go about your day and how you go about certain activities. It's just that a lot of students are very imbalanced in this way, and that prevents them from thinking clearly and in some ways from just being free and making independent decisions, right? So I don't want to demonize one or the other. Again, they're both important. Talking about the automatic way of doing things, this is the way of doing things that's common in institutions like schools, right? Or military, nursing homes, hospitals, large corporations. Any of these systems where you have thousands, hundreds, thousands, or millions of people, you can't have people making decisions at every level by themselves. There has to be, in some way, a top-down structure so that people lower down can follow certain rules and thereby add to the success of this organization, right? And that would include the education system in America. It's kind of necessary to have a certain way to do things. You can't just put a bunch of students in a room, have them fend for themselves, all manual mode. That's just not going to work. So the system is fairly necessary, where you have a certain formula for how you, what time do you go to school, how is your day broken down, right? Classes and break periods and lunches. These are certain ways that the time structure is broken down throughout the day that everyone's got to follow. The system of teachers and students, the system of reading from textbooks or certain, curriculum. It's not that they put you in a math class and say, okay, learn math, however you want to learn math. Talk to people, learn math, look on YouTube to learn math. No. There's a system, there's a curriculum, there's a set order. Homework, right and wrong answers, a good and a bad way to do things. A reward system, right? So that there are certain actions that are rewarded and many that are punished, right? So it's not enough that you're in math class, learning the curriculum, spending time with a teacher. You have to have the right answers and get good grades. Those good grades are rewarded, right? Rewarded by society, jobs, universities, parents, etc. And that builds up in yourself this internal motivation so that your brain gets wired very deeply to live life on this automatic mode, this non-questioning way of being. It's what Krishnamurti, Jiddu Krishnamurti, he talked a lot about education, and he said that school only trains students to be obedient, right? It doesn't allow them to be free. It just makes them follow the rules, to be sheep, so to speak. Now, this can be very, very beneficial, right? If you want to learn math, it's better to learn through a system, right? That's going to get you towards the goal of learning math much better than sort of a random approach or a self-guided approach. It's just never going to work. You're never going to make any progress. Same for exercising in the gym, right? You go into the gym, do whatever you feel like that day. You feel like walking, fine. You feel like running, fine. You feel like lifting weights, fine. Feel like scrolling on TikTok for an hour, fine. That's not going to work. You need a system, you need a structure to make progress. And again, for people who are undisciplined or who lack some kind of meaning or structure, you can see that their life can be very messy and they can make very little progress and get very little done. And this can be very detrimental to themselves. Their relationships can suffer, their health can suffer, their progress in the, this material culture that we live in can suffer, bad grades, bad jobs, etc. So I'm not shitting on it. It's very important to have structure in your life to accomplish goals. However, the manual way of essentially thinking through all of the things you're doing helps you to understand at every level why you should be doing something, why you might want to stop doing something, how you might amend doing something, how you might focus in on doing something more. And it doesn't necessarily mean that you will change anything, right? So take going to school at 6:30 a.m. You might understand at a structural level and even a biological level how that is very bad for you as a student. You as a developing human teenager, that's not a good system. You need to be actually getting your sleep, right? You shouldn't be up when the sun is still going to take 2 hours before it rises. This is absurd. We all know this, again, at a biological level, psychological level, even a sociological level, just bad for society. That's not the same thing as refusing to go to school at that time. You know, my body wakes up at noon, that's when I'm going to school. It's not the same thing. At a structural level, it means that if you ever, are, as low down, I would say, as a parent, but also maybe a school administrator or a politician, this is something that you could have power to change, right? But there's other things, right? Maybe you are recording YouTube videos every day on a YouTube channel, right? And you might second guess this. Like, what exactly is the goal here? Are you following some kind of motivation about money? Is it truly about helping people as you think? Is it something about fame or progress? Are you just addicted to the work itself? Do you just need something to do? Are you self-obsessed and want to see yourself on camera? These are important questions, right? If you're going to be spending an hour a day doing something indefinitely, you better know why you're doing it, right? Same with thinking about going to university. From a very practical point of view, why exactly are you doing this? Because your parents want you to do this? Because you want to do this? Because society has told you you want to do this? What is the value you hope to get out of university? Is it a degree? Is it grades? Is it an experience? Is it actually learning something? Is it building towards a career? Why the hell do you want a career? So many people seem miserable in their careers. Is this to make money? Is this to do something fulfilling? Is this because society says you need to? Again, I'm not saying to not get good grades, to not go to college, to not do classes, to not have a career. I'm not saying any of those things. But understanding the motivations for all of it, understanding things at a deeper level, and second guessing some of these decisions and questioning some of these decisions. Again, living life on manual mode occasionally or often, even if that just means taking a break before you do something and thinking like, what is going on right here? What is happening? What would my life be if I failed all my classes? Would it be bad? By the way, probably would be. Again, we've got to be practical about some things. But it's a mode of being that I encourage you to first reflect on. Be manual about this. I'm listening to this guy on YouTube talk. Why? Is this guy's advice actually useful? But reflect on this. Do you have an underdeveloped sense of free inquire about the actual things that are going on in your life? Is this facet of your personality underdeveloped? And would it be worth spending some more time just reflecting on things periodically? Ciao.